mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
So when I first discovered Livestrong in the early 2000s, I was maybe 6 or 7 years out of treatment, still kind of traumatized, going through all sorts of crazy side effects. I had spent a couple of years in the ad industry when I couldn't go to grad school to be a musician, and I really resonated with the Livestrong brand, but it opened up these doors to me to other young adults with cancer, and some of them happened to be just incredible leaders in the nonprofit, the emerging, nascent young adult cancer nonprofit space, and one of them, whom I met, my God, 2005, 6, 7, Jonny Imerman, the founder of Imerman Angels, which is one of the very first peer-to-peer matching mentorship nonprofits. They're an analog group. They're still an analog group, imermanangels.org. You call in, they take your information, they do some intake, and they match you to a mentor they've trained to basically be your coach and your Sherpa guide to help walk you through what you're going through. It's a phenomenal organization. Again, I've known Jonny a million years. We're the best of friends. We're both these bald Jews living in New York, and we used to have these events called the Two Bald Jews Young Adult Cancer Happy Hours or whatever, and it was in Chicago and New York. Whenever we were together, we did these things, and dozens of people showed up. The glory days, really extraordinary things. And so he's moved on. He left IA, as I did Super Cancer. It's still thriving. There's a great legacy there. And he's in New York now. He's got a great organization called Close Talk, which you're going to find out about. Again, one of my dearest friends in the world, such an incredibly organic. He just showed up when we started talking. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Jonny Imerman. Hey folks, welcome back to Out of Patience. Oh my God, I'm going to introduce the guy in the room. You know who he is because he's on the name of the episode. But before I say hello to him, welcome COS Jen, Chief of Staff Jen.
Hi.
You're Cos Jen. I just gave you a nickname.
Okay.
You accept the nickname?
Sounds
like cosplay. No.
COS is a very famous apparel brand, right?
COS?
Yes.
You know how old I am? I have no idea what this is.
Okay, it's a very famous...
Like Levi's?
Yes, it's super expensive, super nice.
So it's a compliment to call you Cos Jen.
I don't know.
Chief of Staff Jen?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Chief of Staff Jen. Welcome to your very first
Out
of Patience episode.
Very nervous, very excited.
And a fucking whopper it is. Jonny fucking Imerman.
Swearing is legal on the show, and I appreciate you for that.
Jonny fucking Imerman.
It's good to see you, brother.
I stand on your shoulders.
Nice to meet you.
I stand on your shoulders.
No, listen.
And I'm very heavy.
But 40 pounds lighter.
I'm lighter, but I'm still very heavy.
We just talked about that. 40 pounds, man. It's awesome.
So most of my listeners will already know who you are, but just for the cheap seats in the back, I can't believe that you were a fucking CNN hero and I forgot that.
You know, it's a team award, as we all know.
Just like take the compliment.
Teams build things. I mean, look at the Stupid Cancer movement. I mean, I think the Stupid Cancer movement is the biggest social media push for young adults that I've ever seen and community that I've ever seen. It's got to be the biggest. And it's teams. It's like, you know, we both know that. Like, you got to find good people and you got to put them around you. And if everyone's believing in the same thing, it's pretty incredible, like what people can do.
I recently I give a lot of talks as you do, and I'm kind of on like a history event these days. I try to get perspective on where things were 20 years ago. And I remember when we first started having this arc, which is like AYA, which means adolescent young adult oncology, right? That those words weren't in succession at all, anywhere in research or anything. AYA didn't exist back then, and now it's a thing. Mm-hmm. And I tend to remind people that it's a better problem to have, that we at least are acknowledged as a species.
Yeah, very important.
And is it you know best, is it 70,000 still?
I think it's more, but I think it's population adjusted.
Okay.
Got it.
Which is something that always bothered me. I'm not an economist or an anthropologist, but they rarely account for, like, remember COA adjustments on your salary? Mm-hmm. We don't do population adjusted. We just keep saying the numbers are higher. Yeah. And if they're higher because of population, at least it's consistent. But if they're higher because more people are getting it earlier, I'm happy it's higher. Yeah. So no boogeyman data here on the show.
It's good.
But I think it's close to 80 now.
Wow.
80,000 a year. But it was 70,000 25 years ago.
When we all were starting in 05 and 07.
So it seems like a
70,000.
reasonable percentage of population increase.
Yep.
So, I'm flying blind here. I don't have the data in front of me.
That's okay. No more hard questions from me, I promise.
Well, actually, I never asked you this question. Were you really going to be a psychologist?
I first wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
And then I got crushed when I took organic chemistry at University of Michigan. We were just talking about Michigan.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that Jen looked at Michigan to go to. And I was like, this is not for me. My brain doesn't work like this. Thought about therapy. I've always loved psychology. I mean, I did psychology as an undergrad. But it's interesting, as you and I both know with life, two of us never thought cancer when at a young age. And look how it shaped both of our lives. Like it just kind of pulled us. It kind of willed us in the direction that we are in.
I think this is the weird to say, my favorite part of your cancer story is how they unzipped your body, took your organs out and cleaned you up with a hose and then put them back in. Tell us that story.
That is a story. So I love that you remember that story. So I had testicular cancer when I was 26. So chemo and surgeries for the better part of 2 years. I'm 26 to 28-ish. At the end of my chemo, so in the middle of that period, but towards the end of my chemos, they scanned me and there were still 4 tumors behind my kidneys. So my cancer had spread behind my kidneys, abdomen, near the spine, almost to the lungs, but not quite to the lungs. So instead of doing more chemo, the doc said, okay, think we can get these 4 tumors out because they're in the same area through surgery. So I have an 11-inch vertical slice, like an incision from my sternum all the way down to the pubic bone. And it's 11 inches vertically up and down around the belly button. And they had to take my stomach, liver, kidneys, intestines, all the internal organs, and bring them out of my body, still attached, fortunately.
Hopefully.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was hoping that was the case. And then put them to the side. There was actual physical contraption that holds your organs, which I never knew even. Who knew that this stuff existed?
Thanks to that guy that invented that thing.
I mean, somebody built something to hold your organs when you have a surgery like this. And then so I was pretty much hollow in the inside. And then they had to cut from the front the 4 tumors that were caught in the lymph nodes right in front of my spine, sort of behind where the kidneys were. And they cut the 4 tumors out, the surrounding lymph nodes. I had a bunch of staples in there. I can see them in every CAT scan I get. And then they put the organs back in and that contraption holding them, stitched the stomach muscle. And then when I woke up, I had 60 staples vertically from the sternum basically down to the pubic bone. And I had an NG tube in my nose. And it was the most helpless time I think I remember in my life because you're lying on your back and you're looking up and you can't lean forward. You can't turn to the side. Your stomach is sliced open. You can't use your core to move. And I kind of panicked. I remember being like, oh my God, I panicked. My mom wasn't in the room. She had walked down the hallway or something and no one was in the room. I just remember being very scared, being I can't move. But fortunately, I got through all that and, we're lucky. Modern science, as you and I both know, we're lucky. We're lucky for
Modern science being the Mattel game of operation.
Yes, that was like a game of operation. I mean, look at your surgery, right? It's incredible to be having brain surgery.
How many times are you asked, how did you survive? And what is your answer?
Family was number one. I'm very grateful. I had a lot of resources. I had health insurance. We were just talking before set with Jen about other countries and health insurance and how it works here in this country and the differences. And it's it's different here. You'd feel. I mean, everyone I believe should have access to something like cancer at a young age or any age. But that's how I got through it. I was able to have great doctors, had health insurance, very lucky. My mom was there every minute, every chemo, every surgery, and a lot of faith, friends, community, purpose. I think at some point, you probably feel the same way, but at some point during my treatments, I started to come up with this idea and be like, wait, survivors, when I'm done with this, survivors like us could be mentoring people who are fighting today. That sort of became a purpose to live because I felt like that was an idea that I really wanted to do once it was over.
So that dawned on you at the brink of death.
It dawned on me when you're considering death. The scariest I ever was overall, I had a blood clot And worse than the stomach surgery, to be honest with you, I had a blood clot in my left arm, and I had to do what's called a TPA, thrombolytic therapy. It's a complete blood thinner, like everything in your body unclots for like 2 hours. And people can die from it because chunks of the clot can break off and go into your heart or your lung. It can be fatal fast. And that's the scariest I ever was. But I think that was part of it. When going through the blood clot, yeah, I mean, I think, we both relate. You're thinking, you have a lot of time to think in the cancer center about like, what are you going to do with your life if you live? How do you want to change it? Who do you want to be around? And the idea of being a big brother for other young people with cancer was a strong one in me, and it motivated me to really want to live.
I answer that question entirely differently.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your answer.
I just never thought I was going to die.
That is crazy.
It never occurred to me.
Not once.
I was more angry of how dare this get in my way.
It's going to slow me down. My piano might be a little different after, right?
Yeah, and it was. But honestly, luck, clearly.
Yeah.
Luck, whatever luck meant at the time, as a 21-year-old moron that I was.
Yeah.
But I never, ever once believed I was at risk of dying.
Love that. I mean, that's the right mentality.
I think that's the naivety of the youth.
Yes.
It is crazy what it can
Enjoy
make you
it
do.
while you have it.
Okay.
And at 21, that's really interesting. I think you're right. It is the naivety of the youth.
Yeah.
At 21 versus me being 26,
Yeah.
I probably had seen more in 5 years that like got into my head. And maybe at 21, that's great. Not to take anything away from you, but at 21, you're still naive so much that you haven't even worked a day yet.
All right, I'm going to make up something entirely out of my ass, but I think that's based in truth.
Yeah.
And listeners can go
Go with
Google
it.
this. I think there's something called the invincibility gene that wears off after you turn 21, which gives your body its own desire to preserve itself once you realize you are at risk of mortality and that you're meant to be invincible congenitally, cognitively, out of your DNA-ness until that time. That is maybe entirely inaccurate, false. I made it up, but it sounds like it could be true, and I challenge the internet to determine if that's accurate.
I mean, whatever keeps you going, right? Whatever it is that you find to keep you going. If that is how you term it, then so be it. You made it through. That's what matters.
Yeah,
do
because
agree.
I was right before graduating from college. And like, I got to graduate, guys. Can you just get this damn thing into my head, please? That was it. My literal attitude was that.
Yeah.
That is an attitude that I would say 99+% of people wish
They
could
had.
have during cancer.
That is true.
That's a really hard thing.
Did you get pissed at Lance when he started to talk about how attitude is everything?
He
was the first one to like say that. Lance Armstrong, for the listener.
do remember, and I know what you're talking about. I'll be honest, I've never been pissed at Lance. Like I did, again, I had the same cancer. And I was like early stage 3. He was advanced 4. We had the same chemos, a lot of the same stuff go on.
Well, he didn't have the same organ harvesting device that you had, though.
He did not have that same surgery, but he had 2 surgeries in his brain because he had 2 tumors in his brain. So he really did the full works except for that stomach surgery, right? I don't think he had that. If my memory is right. But I will say I read his book twice. And it's really...
Wait, which one? Not about the bike?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really powerful, MZ, when you are looking at your chemo bag and it says etoposide and you're reading about it. You are reading about etoposide in the book. And I'm like, oh, and then he's bleomycin. He didn't take the bleomycin. And I'm looking up and I'm like, oh, bleomycin. I'm like, I thought this was a language nobody else spoke other than me in this chemo room in 2001. But when you're reading his book, I'm reading the names. I'm learning like his journey like gave me a path. Yeah. It like blazed a trail for me. So when I think of Lance Armstrong personally, I feel a lot of gratitude because I read that book not once. I read it a second time in chemo because I needed to pump up on a really shitty day once. And when I think of him, I feel a lot of gratitude. That book was a roadmap, and he was the first one to really share the story of testicular cancer.
I wish I had that book. Oh. They gave me like Dick and Jane Survived Cancer. That was the book that I got.
How was that? Was it a good read?
I didn't resonate. Didn't feel it.
You're like 21. You're like, no.
No, the reason I asked the question is not, this isn't anything about Lance himself. This is the concept that attitude is everything angered people because it meant, did I cause this? Right? There was a lot of interesting, again, like this was 2000, 2002, 3, 4, 5. We were new. The wristbands were just taking off. America was like, oh my God, I can be part of this and not have cancer. But this very idea that your attitude during it can make or break. I remember there was a lot of rife coming out of that.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I think you have to take it in context, in my opinion. He's a super athlete. This is a guy that won 7 Tour de France. Is dope or no dope? You know, like, I mean, he won 7, right?
It's not easy at all.
And I think you have to apply it to like a sports. It's a sports analogy of attitude. That's how I look at it. I don't see a negative side of that, but I do understand that some people take that as you caused your own cancer. But you know, I don't think that was his intent.
Are you serious? I have literally never heard somebody say you have caused your own cancer. How can I?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, right?
I cannot believe somebody saying that to a person actually dealing with the disease. I mean, how?
It would be pretty heartless to say that to someone, even if someone did certain things.
Yeah.
And you know you're more likely to get it. I mean, I think we all need to have compassion. No one asked for it. Nobody wants it.
Well, this was the cigarette stigma
Yep.
in the 90s.
That's right.
Everyone that got lung cancer was a smoker
That's right.
until they weren't. And people that got lung cancer were not smokers,
Yep.
or they were women, or they were young women. And then it sort of dissipated this idea if you did it to yourself, you reap what you sow. We're over that.
I mean, what would people have to say about how some people with no smoking or drinking and no genetic predisposition also have cancers? What do people have to say to them?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people.
There's
Is that
a
what you
lot of
mean?
people,
Yeah, a lot of
yeah.
people.
That have no history. I know somebody
history.
who has no history, was perfectly healthy all their life, beautiful kids. And then at 40-something, she had stage 3 breast cancer. How do you justify that?
That's bad luck. That's it.
Yeah.
It is bad luck.
That's all it is, right?
Partly genes. I mean, again, this is my
Well,
opinion.
yeah, define your luck, right?
Yeah, define
Yeah.
your luck. After talking, you and I both have talked to like probably thousands of cancer researchers, though. And most of them say this, that it's 5% genetics and 95% what we do or social.
Epigenetics, the nerdy
Epigenetics,
science
yes.
term, yes.
Yes.
Is that what it is? Epigenetics? I didn't know.
Epigenetics are shit.
She knows. I like that.
Yes, we go to school for that.
Yes. Me smart.
It's smart.
Epigenetics are things that are in your control, sort of, that shape your DNA. Genetics are what you're born with to be shaped by your environment.
That is a difference. I never thought of that distinction. So you mean like you could be predisposed, but it'll never manifest certain things.
Right.
But if you do something, then it will trigger
Yes.
it.
The thing about epigenetics is some of the changes can actually be passed on to your kids also. So some of the things that you do in your lifestyle, it might be triggered in you, does not trigger in you. We do not know that.
Yeah.
But there is also a chance that it might be more prevalent in your offsprings.
Right. You're going to pass it on.
The gift that keeps on giving. All right, we're going to take a quick break because we have to.
Okay.
And we'll be right back. Jonny, you were just on a podcast, and yes, I stalk you because I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Permission to Shine.
Yes.
So you're still doing interviews. You're still famous.
Very few. First of all, I'm definitely not nearly as famous as MZ, who I'm looking at right now. I do very few. I do them with people I love, like you. And that guy, Permission to Sign, who is an outstanding human. I really like this guy a lot. He is a very close friend with a guy that I mentored with cancer. So when he asked me to do it, I said yes, but normally I would have said no. I'm going to be very direct. I want everything Imerman Angels does to be about the mission. And I love that we have, just like Stupid Cancer as a whole team of 10, maybe 10, Imerman Angels has 12 people full time. Like, I really want our team to be the ones to do this and to give our speeches, which they do. And they travel now and they go to different cancer centers. They do the podcast, because I think we were talking about this earlier. Like, the truth is, the real success is seeing the whole team make it bigger than any person or couple people, right?
Yeah.
And so that's empowering our team and having them do all this stuff. That's what makes me really happy.
All right, founder to founder question.
Yep.
Do you regret or enjoy naming it after yourself?
My mom named it, to be very technical. Do you remember the story?
I don't know this story.
We're not talking about this.
Go on.
We probably talked about like 2007, but it's been a couple. So in the very beginning of Imerman Angels, which actually we became a nonprofit in 2005, but I finished treatments in 2003. So for 2 years, this was just a volunteer thing on the side. It was Tuesday night after work. A group of young survivors and I would go to our cancer center. Doctors all knew us. They'd send us into rooms. We'd do pump-ups for people that were sick. Hey, we're survivors. What are you going through? That's how we started. Saturday afternoon, we'd miss some football games, and we'd go down to the cancer center because we were all so grateful to be alive. And we would just give pump-ups to people. And my mom is like, your friends are like angels. Like, you guys like give up your free time just to help people for no reward, no PR, no one knows, just because you believe that's important and you're so grateful. She's like, you should just call this group Imerman Angels. And we're like, okay. And so like
Famous
literally,
last words.
yeah. And so we're like, these are the angels, right? It's all about the angels. And it wasn't until 2 years later, and then I left Detroit, moved to Chicago, and we got really lucky. Chicago media was a little bigger at the time than Detroit. And we were on every radio station, every TV station that first year. And as it started to grow, then my friends were like, why don't you create an actual 501c3 nonprofit? So then we did that. And by the time we were off and running, the name just stuck. My opinion on it all, I wish if we could change it and shift the equity of the name recognition over in the cancer space, it should be Cancer Connect. Cancer Connect would be the best thing, because that's what it is. It's like one-on-one mentoring for cancer. Cancer Connect. You're sick with cancer. This person beat it. It should not be Imerman Angels, because sometimes people think we're like a VC, like we're investors in angels. We get that one.
Ooh,
Some people think we're religious, the angels, and you guys like a
actually
Christian
thought it
group.
was an angel fund, like an angel group.
That's common, Jen.
That,
I get that all the time.
That maybe is investing or is looking for investments. That's actually my first thought. But
I love that you said that.
But then when we heard about what you do, I was just so
I've
impressed.
had people stop me in the streets of New York City that are looking for capital, saying, hey, can I send you my deck? Are you an angel?
And actually the thing about angels is some of these people do not actually like to be go out, and you cannot
Promote it.
Yeah, they don't really go out and call themselves angels. So I was very impressed when I was like, wow, this is an actual angel network that is out there. But then
I love that you thought that. That's not uncommon. You're not alone. So the name has a lot of flaws for a lot of reasons.
No, but your mom named it. We cannot.
I love my mom to death.
I didn't know that story, and I approve this message.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was good. But
Yeah,
like, no
I
one
have
should
no
have a name
regrets
on it.
other than maybe naming it Stupid Matthew.
I think, how do you feel about Stupid Cancer? Does it feel like the right one?
Well, as the two succession plans, the only two succession plans that went right in oncology in the last decade, you and me, right? Successful succession plans. By the way, my succession plan was not to have one, and then we needed one. And that's why it worked really well. All right. As two of the only successful succession plan founders, I am so happy with the footprint I left and what the new team, shout out to Allison Silverman and her team.
She is wonderful.
She's not only carried the torch and honored the legacy, but she's taken it to new heights.
Yep.
And she's adapted to and adopted to people that aren't my age.
Yep. That's great.
Embraced all the new lingo I don't understand, but accept and tolerate because I'm a decent human being. And I'm just so proud.
You picked the right person, man.
I didn't pick her. They found her.
The board did?
I walked away. I said, good luck.
I did know that.
So shout out to Elizabeth Wolf, if my listeners don't know who she
She's
was.
another human being. But you brought Elizabeth Wolf into the mix.
Yeah, so Liz
and Elizabeth
was...
got it done. Indirectly, you got it done, man.
No, for
That's all
Chief
that
of Staff
matters.
Jen. So Liz Wolf was my Jiminy Cricket Sherpa conscience consultant to me and the board of directors for a decade at
Wow.
Stupid Cancer. So she
Wow.
lived and breathed. She was like the you, right? But like not like operationally, but mentally, like psychological chief of staff. That's what Liz's great role was.
Wonderful human.
But she took
Great
over
person.
as interim CEO when I left. And it was because of her stewarding, shepherding that transition that we found Allison, and she took over. Again, the succession plan that went right. I just went to CancerCon earlier this year. I wrote a whole love letter to them. You must be just so proud too to see IA keep going.
Well, I'm going to mirror what you said, not to repeat everything you just said, but Stephanie for us has been incredible. And I'll be the first one to say I screwed it up a couple times trying to hire the right person, and they weren't bad people. And
I remember those people.
it just wasn't the right fit. As you know, it's tricky. You got it right the first time, which I have huge respect for.
Yeah.
But the third time for us, we found the right person and the right fit at the right time. And it's pretty amazing, right? When everything just seems to flow and work, and like the drama, there's like no drama. I'm like, wow, this is really incredible when you put the right person. So Stephanie's been with us 6 years. Allison's going on what, 7? 5?
No, I think
5.
late 2019 is
Only
when she
4
started.
or 5.
Yeah. She
5.
started and then the pandemic hit. So God bless her for dealing with that.
Yeah, right. She went through that and she got through that. That's pretty amazing. I mean, we're both lucky that we were able to find great people. And there's a lot of great people out there, but it's about timing and are they available at the right time? And is it the right fit? And it wasn't easy.
I think it's incredible what you both have built to go beyond really your own story. I know so many people who deal with this and might find so much just inspiration, right? You just hear somebody who's done this, gone through this, and you're like, okay, maybe I can also do it. And it's incredible.
So, Johnny, Jen and I were talking before the show, and we wanted to ask a question about, actually, you can ask the question, like buddy versus mentor.
What?
Like,
Oh, yes. We were talking about like buddy systems is sort of really picking up in cancer. And it's really nice that to have somebody who's gone through something similar and just be there for you. But we were speaking about something else, and mentor, a professional mentor being there for you is also something that's really picking up. So do you have a preference between what works, or like, what do you think about that?
Do you mean in terms of like the mentor program or like the name?
the program itself.
Program, yes.
The program
Like
itself.
being matched to someone who's like a rando peer because of checkboxes, or being matched to like a professional trained
yeah.
cancer coach, counselor person.
Got it. So it's very interesting because there is something right now, which I think you guys know, called Cancer Buddy, which
Yeah.
Christina Merrill, who we all love,
Yeah.
over at the Bone Marrow and Cancer Foundation, has created. It's a little similar to what you had the first idea. I remember the first iteration of that. And it's a tech system that anyone can find each other digitally. And of course, let's just be straightforward, like the Gen Zers, I mean, young adults with cancer, it's great. They're very comfortable on their phones. And you can use that with tech. Well, Imerman Angels probably will always be different but complementary in that we talk to everybody. It's very much more analog versus digital. It's
Okay.
really old school. So somebody that has cancer, we're going to talk to you. We're going to get to know you. What are you afraid of? What treatments are you on? Do you have kids? Do you not? Are you this race? Are you that religion? Are you gay, straight, bi? Does that matter to you? Are you a vet? I'm always have been surprised, like how many vets out there want to talk to another vet. So that's great. We don't care. We don't judge anyone. Freedom for everybody. But we talk to everybody. We sort of dig in there, get to know your story and what you want in a mentor. And then it's very much of a white glove, hold your hand. This person, Mike Smith, lives in LA and he's exactly what you're looking for. And he survived exactly your same type, and put him in the same room. Personally, I believe we need to have both. We need to have the digital way for people to find each other. Of course, some people would argue there's a little more risk. Have these people been vetted? Like, who are they? Who's behind the keys? I get that. I still think the benefits outweigh the risks. So I'm a huge fan of Cancer Buddy and what Christina's doing in the digital way. And in terms of Imerman Angels, I think we're always going to be this way, where we do train our people. We talk to all of our mentors. We get to know them. We want to make sure they're mentally stable and they're in a good place. There's 16,000 of them, but it takes a long time. But you got to talk to everybody. You got to know them. And then you got to talk to the people that are sick and then hook them up. So I think if both options are there, people can use one, the other, or both.
I like just that it's been democratized. When there was like nothing 25 years ago.
Zero.
Reminders.
Zero.
Nothing.
What it was when you and I were in the cancer center, you look around and there's no young people, right?
Really?
Well, there were no phones either. You know, I was told I would cancer on an answering machine. Like, this is 1996, right?
Yeah.
So come on.
Serious?
Yeah.
Answering machine?
All right. So
That's how it used to be.
It's a 10-second story. I went to get my MRI, went to lunch with my mom, got home, the machine was blinking, said, "We found something in your brain, come back." That was it. That's how I found I brain tumor.
My God.
That is nuts.
Yeah. That was December 95. That was December 27th, 1995. Yeah. So
Wow.
Blinking Answering Machine is my new band name.
That's a great name, actually. How about a t-shirt? That is kind of a cool
The
t-shirt.
Blinking Answering Machines.
People would
I'll
definitely
be at the
ask.
Limelight in 1998, folks.
Wait, was Limelight that old club on like 25th and 6th?
Limelight is
I've heard
on
about this.
it's in like the between like 18th and 6th.
18th,
yeah.
right. It's an old
now.
church. Yeah.
It's like
I think it's gone now, right?
it's
I've
like a
heard the
farmer's market now or
stories.
something like that. But yeah,
Yes.
Limelight in the 80s and 90s, you had to be there.
I think it was like a David Barton gym for a little while. They took
Probably.
it over.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Rip
about.
Limelight. For the New Yorkers listening to the show, rip the Limelight.
I have no idea what you guys
That's
are
fine.
talking
This is
about.
old school New York.
This is the best
It's an
part
old
of
school place.
No, the best part of Chief of Staff Jen is like she has no idea what the hell we're talking about because we're old.
You just go forward, Jen. You're
But
good.
bro, aging is a privilege. How you feeling?
That is the truth, man. I'm very grateful, lucky. I feel good. I was in the gym this morning.
I couldn't tell.
No, it's not. Trust me, it's old. It's not great.
This is the radio, folks, but Johnny is jacked.
No, definitely not that. I'm old and the body creaks. But I think guys like us, right? It inspires us, everything we've been through, and talking to other cancer people to be a little more disciplined, right? About diet, health. I mean, look at you, dropped 40 pounds, man. That's incredible.
I just lost my shit one day. I turned 49. I saw these photos of myself. I'm like, I just don't want to be this person anymore.
Yeah.
But
And
I
for
threw
your
money at the
kids.
problem and it worked.
And it worked. And for your kids, right? Your kids need great parents.
Yeah, I can't fit
like,
both of
do
them
it
in the
for
shirt
them.
with me anymore.
Good one. It's good.
Yeah.
You got to be around, man. You got to live to 100.
My God. All right. So I'm going to channel my dad for a second. My dad's best line of his
mayor.
life was, "May you live to 110, Johnny, and may the last words you hear be mine."
That is a classic mayor.
That's a
He
Mayor
is
Lou.
known as the mayor.
Yep. Yeah. Mayor Lou. Love you, Dad. All right. I want to talk about one more quick thing. Actually, we have plenty of time, but this has probably caused more content to be created on posts that I've made over 20 years. If I put this out there, it like released the hounds. Military language in cancer. Fighting. Warrior. Battle. What do you think, Johnny?
This is a great topic.
Yeah.
I love that you brought this up. I'd love to hear Jen's opinion on this too.
Oh, right. Jen's here.
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? I'm happy to go first, but if you want to, please. It's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
It's an
The word
American thing,
choice.
too. It's a very American thing.
Yes.
It's also very prominent in India.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me more.
I think the way I look at it is, I think it's empowering. When I hear something like that, I think it's definitely powerful. I think it's an effort to take sort of pity and self-pity out of the way, and to what is the way we can push these people that are going through, whether it is through language, certain lexicon, then so be it. I think it's great. No?
I mean, that's exactly how I see it personally. Like we use at Imerman Angels the words fighter and survivor. So there you go. That's kind of an aggressive term.
Yeah.
Someone could argue, right? Like, you're a fighter. I have had people, usually social workers, that are just sweet, nice people. I love them. But some of them will say, maybe you want to use a word that's not as aggressive, like fighter or warrior. Like you don't need these like attack terms. We want to get people into this sort of Zen. Buddhist, sort of peaceful place. And I think you kind of touched on this earlier, Jen, about like whatever works for you. And I think it's one of those things, like whatever works for you. If it works for you to be, and I've met people like that, and I know you have, who are like boxers, and they're like wrestlers, boxers who are like, I have cancer. I envision myself in the ring beating the shit out of this thing and like grabbing it by the neck, throwing it over the rails. I mean, if that works for you and you're like a power MMA athlete and that works for you to envision that, to do better, that's what you should do. And if you're someone that needs to sit at home and meditate and be Zen and those words don't feel right, then I think that's what you should do. But there's definitely both sides to this. I don't know if it'll ever be settled. You always hear the two sides going back and forth.
It's not about being settled. I think like your metaphor of choice, just don't be a jerk about it, right?
Yes.
That's kind of what it is. But where it tends to come into play as being, and this isn't trigger culture bullshit stuff, is when someone loses their battle. Does that mean they didn't fight hard enough if they're 3 years old, right? That is where I can really see that can be taken very emotionally by lots of people. My late brother-in-law died at 19 years old, Carl Feldman. In fact, November 5th, coming up as of this taping, it's November 1st. So on November 5th, this year, 4 days from today, will be his 2003 21st anniversary of his passing, right? Wow. The kid had cancer for like 5 years in his teens, and he died. Did he not fight hard enough? Otherwise, he'd still be here. I bring that up because I wanted to hear your thoughts, not on that, but this country is just, and apparently India too, welcome to our culture, is like, I'm glad it empowers people, but you can choose how you want to be affected by it.
100%.
Yes.
Sorry to hear that story. I don't know if I knew that one, man.
So sorry.
That's a tough one.
Well, by the time this airs, it'll be after, but of course, we love you, Carl, miss you, Carl. My son Kobe's named after him.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
I think you bring up a good point, though. The term, I think we can all agree on one thing. The term lost his battle or lost her battle is probably not one we should use very often.
Yeah.
Because it does insinuate you didn't fight hard enough. Like you could have done more, when that's just not at all the case. And I think there's a great Stuart Scott quote, which I don't know if you may not know. Stuart Scott was a commentator at ESPN. Okay. Sports commentator for how many years? Like 40, 30?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was dying of cancer. And he goes, I define being a cancer survivor as, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but he basically said, the way I fight every day, the way I live every day, the way I love my family and friends every day, that's being a cancer survivor. Nobody loses the battle. And that's a great way to say it, right? That's how you beat cancer. It's how you live when you're here. But nobody's losing the battle.
Yeah. I mean, who are you losing against? That's also stupid. Why?
But that terminology typically doesn't come from the families and the communities. Like the media says this, right? Suzanne Summers lost her battle with cancer. Come on, media. They're also the ones that used to call us victims. At least we're over that part.
Oh my God.
Cancer victims. Remember those days?
I do. It's almost laughable, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So progress, history, progress. We made progress.
We found something positive. We are going in the right direction.
All right, I'm going to end with a great stat because I don't one up you in any way, shape, or form because I don't need to. No, that's not our job. But where I'm going with this is you one up me in the best way. The worst, best way possible. Okay.
I can't one up you, dude.
All right. When you Google yourself, it's called ego surfing, right? It's a what do you call like a sniglet? It's a made up word.
The Gen Z term.
I'm whatever.
I have never,
sure, why not?
She's Gen Z.
Yeah. I've never heard of it actually.
All right. When I Google myself, I'm in the first 17 pages of a search result with no interruptions. You, my friend, are the first 20 pages.
Yay.
So congratulations on being more Googleable than I am.
Dude, I find that hard to believe. I think we have to actually like do the math on that.
Let's get an intern on that.
I feel like there's no way. I mean, I will say this. What MZ you have done with you're trained for it, which is awesome. And it really was a big boost to the cancer space. Your ability to take stupid cancer and grow the social media following. And this is going all the way back. I've never seen a group like it to grow organically in the way you did it, where I used to have groups come to me, MZ, being like, your boy's with Matt Zachary. How does he do it? How does he get so many hundreds of thousands of people on Facebook? How does he get hundreds of thousands of people online? And they would ask me about you. And I'm like, I have no idea. You got to ask him. But he's freaking good at it. I'm like, the mission speaks for itself, right? And it's working and it's growing. I mean, that's always been incredible to me.
It's been a terrible privilege.
I think the best part is relatability. I think that's why he's working. Is that people are able to just relate to everything he says, everything he is. He's not some person that you see and it's almost is like from heaven or anything. He is a real person.
You are hired. Oh wait, you're already hired.
No, that is why I was stalking stupid cancer for a long time.
All right, Jonny, 60 seconds on close talk. Go.
But it is true. If you are ideal and you are real and you keep it real, which you do, MZ, that is, I agree. You people want and trust and want to come in. And I agree. That's a huge part of your ability to grow with so many people who want to
Stop praising me. Talk about close
enough
talk.
About MZ. So I'm going to do this I'm going to do this in 20 seconds. So Imerman Angels, the way we got the word out in downtown Chicago was making cooler t-shirts after screwing it up for years. We figured out what people would wear. And then we said, hey, we can do this for all nonprofits to help people create conversations through clothing. So Close Talk has about 500 nonprofits we work with, including Stupid Cancer, and our goal with no required cost. We don't require any nonprofit to have to pay us for anything. So there's no risk or downside. But we run an online Shopify store, design the apparel. It's higher quality. We can make them on demand. We can drop ship them. The goal is get more people wearing the logos of their cause they love, whatever cause you love.
Wow.
And be an ambassador. Go to the gym wearing it. Walk your dog wearing it. Go in the subway wearing it. Like, spread the word for something that means something. That's what we want people to do and think.
And we'll put a link in the show notes for Close Talk. But all right. Thank you for being the second podcast you've done this year.
This is true. I think this is the last. You are my last. You're my boy. I love you. It's great to meet Jen here. Great hire.
Yeah.
I got heard twice today. That's great.
It's great. All right. The Jonny Imerman, legend, bro, my best friend. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Dude, you're the man. Always good to see you, brother. Love you, buddy. Thank you, Jen.
It was so lovely meeting you.
Out of Patience with Matthew Zachary is a production of Matthew Zachary Worldwide. The executive producer is Matthew Zachary. It is mixed and edited by Kyle Moore. If you like the show, ratings and reviews are always welcome wherever you get your podcasts. If you have guest suggestions or would like to learn more about sponsorship opportunities, email podcast@matthewzachary.com. For more information about Matthew Zachary and Matthew Zachary Worldwide, visit matthewzachary.com.